Alright, in this video, I'm going to show how to take a bike that's been used quite a bit and make it look like virtually a new bike for relatively little money. So this is what we're starting with. This is a 2023 KTM 250SX, and really my goal is to try to make it look like basically a 25 KTM 250SX, which shares really a lot of the same features in terms of how the shrouds and body panels all fit on there. But in any case, let's get started. First step is to get it cleaned up, and then we'll go ahead and look at our new parts. Alright, so here's the parts we have, and I'll try to show you what I think is going to give us the most value, including prices and ranges and such. So really the best thing to make your bike look new again is give it a new set of plastic. My recommendation is UFO. They offer a really good quality plastic for really decent pricing. So the entire set for this bike was $125. Now that does include their sale, but they almost always, every time I've gone on there, they have some form of a sale, 30, 40, 50%, something like that. But when I bought this, $125, bought all of the plastic for that bike. Now, I went online and found OEM style stickers for a 2025 KTM, so literally look like a 25. That cost me, I think it was $70-ish. So you might have to search for what you want a little bit, but for the 25 there wasn't a lot of options. I think I actually ended up buying those on eBay. But in any case, other pieces that can be very helpful. So a new seat cover. $30-ish to about $100 get you a new seat cover. In this case, I opted for the actual whole seat. I found this one on eBay for $160. That's the whole seat already done. But if you're interested in doing the seat cover, I did do a separate video on how to do that. This is the ATV. That was just a seat cover. I think that was $35 seat cover. Made that seat look like brand new, but takes some time and effort. So if you're interested in that, check out that video. Swing arms get pretty beat up and can make a bike look old. So Polysport and a few other companies sell these swing arm covers. There's some carbon fiber ones as well, but I like these, and they were about $60. Those actually work pretty good. New grips are nice. So you can see these are getting pretty worn out. But grips in general, you're looking at about $15 up to about $35. These are a pretty good set there for 25, and those are easy to use because they just, instead of being glue on, they're bolt on for the left-sided one. In any case, moving on, frame guards. These are also from UFO. Those are only $16, and those will make those original ones. Get those replaced because you can see those are pretty scuffed up, and that would be really pretty expected on a bike that's been used a bit. I also got new levers. Now, if you're looking for budget, these are Tusk. $50 buy two new levers, and these actually bend away as well. Now you can spend quite a bit more. These are some ASVs I had from my 125. These were almost $175 for the set. These do feel a little nicer in the hand, but honestly, that's just all extra credit. Really, you probably don't need new levers. In fact, there's some pros that don't even buy the nice levers. They just use the OEM ones. So use your discretion on that. One extra piece, not necessary, but I bought a new silencer. $150 will replace this one that's kind of beat up. It's not too bad, but in any case, really, without the silencer, all this plastic and everything really will run you about $350 to $400 and get the bike looking really pretty new. I did spend a little extra to get number plates since I do race the bike, so stickers with the numbers, etc. on them. That'll cost a little bit more. Decal Works will send you new plastic and the decals already applied to them if you buy the plastic through them. But if you want to put it on yourself, save a little bit of money that way, you can do that. And I think $150 will get you a whole set of custom numbers like that. All right, so let's get going and get the bike looking new again. All right, a couple of tips as we progress here. One additional item that I replaced that I didn't initially mention is the chain guide. You can spend a bit on those, but actually UFO sells those. $23 bought all three of those pieces. That one down there, this one around the swing arm, and then the one in the back here. So that was a pretty important replacement because there was the original. You can see it was hanging on by a thread. In any case, a few important torques. This one's 22 foot-pounds. That's your subframe, which wouldn't think you have to take that off to take a panel off, but you do. And then if you're going to do those chain guides, you got to take the sprocket off here. So that's 45 foot-pounds or 60 Newton meters. That's a 17 millimeter hex head, and this is a T45 Torx bit. Okay? All right, so let's progress a little more. All right, so to get that front wheel on, first thing you need to make sure you got your rotor aligned with the pads within the caliper, and then get that axle shaft greased up and in place. Okay. Next step is to get a couple sockets, or a socket and a wrench. In this case, it is a 17 millimeter and an 18 millimeter for these, for the axle shaft and the axle shaft nut. And then those are torqued to 26 foot-pounds, okay? Notice there are no clamp bolts in there yet. Those are not to be, they could be in there, but they should not be tightened as of yet. Next step is going to be to take that bike off the stand, compress the front brake, and apply pressure to the forks a few times. So compress those forks a few times. That helps align everything before you put those clamp bolts in place. I use thread sealer Loctite on all of those, as you see me use in my videos quite a bit. And then your 10 millimeter socket to tighten those 8 millimeter bolts in there to 11 foot-pounds. Keep in mind, as you tighten one, the other one might loosen up. So the end torque of both of those needs to be checked at 11 foot-pounds, okay? All right, one little trick I like to have sometimes for cables or wires that are at risk for getting wrecked, and or if they're starting to look a little bit old, is you can actually use wire looms. So wire looms like this is helpful for organization of your electrical jobs, but actually does a really good job of overlying cables. You can see my use of it on the snow bike here. Actually, part of the reason I use it on there, I think it kind of looks nice, but also, you know, helps prevent those from getting wrecked when they get snagged on trees and such. Also, $25 on Amazon, these fork protectors. Now, I've heard some companies that do suspension recommend against those. However, I like them. I think they do provide a little protection, but you know, I guess you use your discretion. Those are about $25 a piece, but there are some companies that sell them for way more than that. And you can get them for the top part too, which those look nice. You can see them on that bike there. In any case, then also around $25, these lower fork protectors kind of help keep that area protected, in addition to making it look just a little bit newer, covering up all those kind of scratches and things that are on this bike that's seen a little bit of use. All right. All right, here the bike is all finished up. A few of the tools that you'll need to complete this task. T15 Torx for the screws underneath here, and a T27 for those specialized fasteners that hold these side panels on, and the seat also slides onto those fasteners. And then these 6mm for these small ones, like that one there. There's another one of those under here, and then for the mud flap underneath there. Do not over tighten any of these fasteners that go into plastic. Be very careful. Those just a little tight, like just a few foot-pounds. In general, the 8mm hex heads, I just tighten those by hand, but 7 or 8 foot-pounds if you want to be very careful. This one here, T45 for this subframe / side panel fastener there. Make sure you put a little thread sealer on that, and that should go to about 22 foot-pounds, okay? Well, I think the bike turned out really well. I tried my best to select a grouping of parts that added a lot of value to the bike without spending a ton of money. A few little extra items like the pegs, which I had around, that can add another couple $100 or more, even if you want the really nice titanium ones. But a pretty good set of aluminum pegs for a little more than $100 sometimes. And that silencer, about $150 for that. But in general, took this bike that was pretty well used, and now for the most part, really looks like a new bike. Well, I really appreciate you checking out the video. Please subscribe and leave your questions, comments. Really appreciate all that. Thanks for checking it out.